Welcome to the program Insight Education, a TV program designed to enlighten the general public on the policies, activities and progress of the Delta State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education in its bid to provide a quality education for the good children of the state. It promises to be a delight. Rita Ubuaja is my name. It will offer insight into the workings of the ministry so that you will appreciate efforts the present government is putting in place to ensure we have a solid foundation of education in the state. It will play host to current news of happenings around the ministry, hold developmental strides, as well as discussion sessions with pupils, students, their parents as well, and teachers and other stakeholders in the state. With the holidays over, children in primary and secondary public schools in the state resumed at their various schools. Let's take a look.
Schools resumed for the second term for the 2019-2020 academic session on Monday, January 6, 2020. In compliance with the new policy direction of the State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, that resumption test be administered on the pupils and students the first days of school resumption. Pupils and students are sat for tests. The resumption test was instituted to rest the perennial truancy that attended school resumption, where pupils, students and teachers treated academic activities with levity until even 3 weeks into the new term. It was therefore interesting to see pupils and students, especially of public schools, running and racing to catch up with the tests, a situation which attested to the importance that the school children have attached to the tests. From classroom to classroom, pupils and students were seen in very attentive mood taking the tests. First, the teachers took the roll call to establish the attendance, and by extension, the number of school children actually present to take the tests. At the Government Model Secondary School, GRA Asaba, the senior counselor in the school, Pastor Peter Emefia, said that the resumption test has been effective.
Yes, it's a welcome development, because this will make students to be aware that the school have resumed. So we like what the commissioner have done, because so many schools in the first week, second week, third week, they will not come to school. Teachers will be going to the school, they won't see students to teach, and at the end they will not cover the curriculum, they will not cover their scheme of work. So, but now that they know that the state government is introducing it in all the schools in the state, they are aware, so that actually they will come to school, do the test, and make sure that they resume fully. So it is good. In this particular school, when we started this school, Government Model School Asaba here, we introduced it and implemented it. That is why on the resumption date, you see that all the students will be available. They will come, and after the resumption test, the next day, teaching starts immediately. So for the state government coming into this program, it is very, very laudable. I like it. It is good to checkmate students who are just busy loitering about when the schools have resumed.
He affirms that the turnout of the students was far more impressive than last term when the exercise was introduced.
Actually, I don't know what is obtainable in other schools, but for this school, I know that they must come because we have started it. So the introduction of this program by the Honorable Commissioner is very, very good. It's very, very good. It's very, very good. I like it. And it will make the students to be more serious that once they resume, they know that they have a test that they are going to write. So because if they will be serious, even during the holidays, they will not play all about, because it will have effect in the academics.
The principal of Government Model Secondary School Asaba, Mrs. Carol Oregbuna, also has this to say about the resumption test as a tool for continuous assessment of the students.
The resumption test today is very, very crucial. It has helped the students to settle down after the long holidays. And the resumption test is part of the continuous assessment. So it's highly rated. Every child is back. You can see that the classrooms are full. They know that it is very, very important as it is going to form part of the second term result. The turnout now is quite impressive, higher than what it was if there was no resumption test, because every child is compelled to come back to school because they know that it is going to affect their final score for second term if they fail to participate in the resumption test. It is a welcome development, and then we have embraced it and we want it to continue. It has helped to strengthen the academic structure of the school.
While monitoring the test in the school, Chief Inspector of Education in Oshimili South Local Government Area, Mrs. John Nwaji, expressed satisfaction at the turnout of the students, the zeal they showed towards the test, and the overall impact of the new policy.
The importance of this test cannot be overemphasized. We started it last term and we saw the relevance of the resumption test. One is that our students now resume as at when due, when they are asked to come back to school. They already have the zeal that when they come, they must write their first test. And this first test is recorded and used. So it's very, very important. Our students are now very much aware of coming back to school. And that's a very big achievement of the ministry. It is evident. If you look at the school, you see that all our students are in the schools. All of them have come back to school.
Students of the school raised their minds on the school resumption tests and the impact it has on school resumption at the beginning of the year and the new term.
Well, I was enjoying the holiday, but I was really eager to resume school as there were some certain responsibility and tasks I were to handle as a head boy. Resuming school, there are a lot of things I'm doing right now, like for example, we are doing a test, we are studying. This resumption test, it is part of our continuous assessment and it is really nice. For me, I studied, so it's not really hard for me. Some of the questions, they are easy, they are very easy, they're like bread. So as writing this test, it's really preparing us.
Yes, I was very eager to resume school because last time I really enjoyed the school because it was fun and the teachers taught me well. So I was very eager to resume school. I hope to achieve a lot because the resumption test, I will know that I will come out very well because in the resumption questions, the teachers, what they asked us, the teachers taught us well, and I will be able to understand everything and write them well.
The team of inspectors from the ministry were also at Ozigwe Primary School to monitor the school resumption tests. There, the pupils were neatly dressed and turned out in large numbers to participate in the tests. The pupils were duly invigilated while they took the tests. The headmistress of Ozigwe Primary School, Mrs. Rebecca Okocha, commended the Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Chief Patrick Oka, for instituting the school resumption test, which she said had made school resumption very effective.
Since the insertion of this welcome back test to schools, you now see that children, immediately they resume school, you see the children in the school. Because they will now come to prepare themselves for the test. Yes, like today now that they are doing the test, the turnout is almost 80%. Unlike before, when we resume school, you will not see any child in the school till the following week. But the turnout in this school is 80%. The classroom, they are filled up with the learners.
A primary 6 pupil, Kofi Osei Wusu, showed much excitement about the test and said he was happy to resume school after the Christmas holiday.
I am eager to resume school and I hope I will do well in my test.
The next port of call was the Asaba Mixed Secondary School, Asaba, where students were in high spirit for school resumption and looked forward to it. The Vice Principal Administration of Asaba Mixed Secondary School, Mrs. Omojeli Agolokigo, praised the turnout of students for the tests as impressive, stating that the exercise has changed the narrative on school resumption in the state.
The importance of the resumption test is that it made the students to resume early. Before now, they don't come to school this first week. They resume the second week. But if you look at it, the students, many of them came to school. A reasonable amount came to the school. And they sat for the test. Because they know that this test is part of their examination.
Feelers from every part of the state showed that the response of teachers, pupils, and students to school resumption has changed for the better. The State Ministry of Education said that the school resumption test has come to stay and that it will continue to serve the twin purpose of ensuring effective resumption of schools at the beginning of the term, as well as the continuous assessment of students and pupils.
The Back to School program is based on research and observation that students after long vacation, it takes them a minimum of 3-4 weeks to return back to full academics. And the program we have itemized to bring them back to school is to facilitate students settling down and to learning in school. For example, before they resumed, we have cleared all the schools, fumigate them, and get the school and classroom ready for study. And we are following that up with a test to put them, the students, in a state of readiness to learn. So they have done a test, which is part of the continuous assessment. And now we are in the mentoring phase of the Back to School program, which will be on for the next 1 month. Now, the development of curriculum education and extracurriculum activities is very key to the overall development of the child. And therefore, this mentoring is people, role models in society, retired principals, going to talk to them to reorientate the mind of the students. We have a lot of problems in schools: cultism, riots, some violent behaviors, which we want to curb. So by this role model is going to speak to them, there's a new change of behavior. You know, it takes time for people to change. And then we hope that by this mentoring program, they will avoid cultism, they will avoid riotous behavior and violent acts in school. And there will be a change in the behavior of our students. We'll do this for the next 4 weeks. People will be going, role models will be going to schools to speak to them, to talk to them. And after that, the students are encouraged to join at least 2 clubs or societies in the school for their moral upbringing. We encourage those who are science inclined to join the JET club. We encourage those who like to do literary and debating society to build confidence in the students. We also have whether they join the Red Cross or the Boys or Girls Brigade. Now, these are organizations and clubs for the moral upbringing of the students, where they can learn things. And then in some schools, we're encouraging them to have the Young Farmers Club, so that people can learn about agriculture. And in the JET Club, we encourage them to do entrepreneurship. People leaving school should have some basic skills that they can use, when they leave school. Those are all-round education of the child, which is the new orientation we are doing. I think from the response of people, the communities where this school are cited, from the response of the students and the teachers, I think is a welcome idea. People are embracing it. They find it that it makes the students to settle down quickly to studies. Also, the students marshals who are going around in towns where they exist to ensure that students go to school on time. Because you find that at about 11 o'clock, you see students hanging around in the streets. So there are marshals who are now making them to drive them to school to make sure that they resume early at school. So it's part of reorientation of the students, part of changing the old order of what people do. In those days, people stay 1 month as our school have resumed. 1 month, school has not taken off effectively. Now, within the last 1 week, school reopened. You can find that school is bubbling with activities. Academic work is making progress. Teachers are at school. Students are reporting early to school, and we find that academic work has started up in earnest.
Findings are that all stakeholders responded effectively to the school resumption tests. It is hoped that the tempo will be sustained to make good the policy thrust of the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and ensure that schools in the state resume effectively and in earnest at the beginning of every term.
If you have missed this, you must be an exceptional child to now read and struggle to make sure you regain that point that you're going to miss. We have had to reduce the cutoff mark to 40. So if now you are losing a percentage, then you know you have to work harder. There's nobody that will do it for you. But it's left to the teachers for them to just go back and start giving back to people who are not in school. Somehow we find out. Like I told some of them, I don't like doing sting operations on my friends and my relations. And they are all my friends, my sisters, and you can see, I've seen some of them that I even knew growing up. But I'm beginning to discover them. So if they have to lie, that's not how we came up. So I don't expect that any of them will lie. They promise they will not lie. That punishment of losing that mark, they must lose it.
Welcome back. It is crystal clear to see that the Delta State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education is bent on securing the future of education in the state. So join our social media community and let us know how we can create a better educational system and to build a stronger Delta. It is on this note we conclude this exciting episode of the program. On behalf of the producer and the production crew, thank you for staying with us. Let's meet again next week for another refreshing episode. I am Rita Boaja.